Hey guys!
Hey,
Whoop!
it's April.
April
It's really
2nd to be exact.
crazy. Yep, April 2nd. And
Yeah,
we're here,
we're
finally.
here
Yeah.
finally. Yeah, I feel like this
We
is
got
just
a
gonna be the
lot. Dude.
routine until we get to summer, and then it's gonna be better.
Yeah, I'm not going to be free until I'm hoping to be free at May, which is kind of like mid-May is like school ends and all that stuff. So like May is going to be the free month where we may
Yeah,
have more time.
yeah.
But so we've got lots of things to talk about. We've got to talk about Sunrise on the Reaping. We've got our April TBR to go over.
Lots of stuff.
I've got some sad author news. I mean, we've got a cover
Oh,
reveal that I want to talk about. Like, we've got a lot. It's
we
gonna be fun
do.
tonight, y'all.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be fun. All
Yeah.
right.
So I guess we'll start. Sunrise on the Reaping. Somebody finished it, and that somebody is not me because I'm still reading.
Oh my god, I cried a total of 5 times while I'm reading this book.
Five?
Count them 5.
Oh my god.
One of them, I was in Pioneer eating dinner, and I had to hold it together. Like the plate had been taken away, my leftovers were in the to-go box. I should have been walking out the door, but I'm like, you know what? I am reading the epilogue to this book, and it literally the epilogue gets me.
Oh my gosh. I so I am on chapter. I just started chapter. I think I said 11. Yes, I'm on chapter 11.
Okay.
So, yeah. Spoiler alerts for some of Sunrise on the Reaping. If you haven't read it yet, I want to talk about a few of the plot points because her and I have not had time, so we have not discussed anything.
We are. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So we gotta talk. So you've been warned. Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Okay, so first of all, one thing that I realized is just how much I love the Hunger Games universe.
Oh, I know.
Because of like I don't know, just the oppressed society and like the things that they do to survive. Like I am here for it, but you know me, I always prefer male characters over females. So for me, it's like the perfect world that I'm obsessed with that shaped so much of my writing. So we have a male protagonist now, and I'm like, I am eating this up. I am here.
Yeah.
I love him as a character. I love that he reminds me a lot of Jared from my book Hunter because he cares for his mom and his little brother in this. And it's just like I love the day-to-day life that we get at the beginning before the reaping, and it's not very much. It's like the reaping I think is at the end of chapter 1, but it's like we know he gets reaped, he's gonna go in the Hunger Games, and he wins at some point because he's a victor. But they change it up. She changes up. Like the reaping surprised me because he didn't get called, and you're like, you expected Haymitch's name to be called, and it's this other kid who runs off and gets shot.
Yeah.
And then all heck breaks loose, and 12 just starts a rebellion, pretty much. And I'm just like, I did not see this coming. So when I first started that night, I couldn't stop reading. I remember at that point I was ahead of you. The only point I was ahead of you just a little bit. And then somehow, that's not how what happened after that. But it's like
I read a lot on the weekends.
Yeah. So like I love his relationship with Lenore Dove. Like they're so cute together. And I just love his life. Like we got a lot of it established and everything, and I'm so excited and I love it. And I was wondering if she was gonna get reaped, like if she went for like in my head.
I wondered
when I was
that too.
Before the reaping, I was wondering. Yeah. So I mean, I love the difference between it and the Hunger Games and how they're treated because they're still like they're cuffed. There's not like there's still technology, but they're still treated very like there's not a whole lot of
so weird
stuff.
Because you haven't read Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, but you have seen the movie, so you have a basic idea. But it's like it's so interesting because the progression of the Capitol's treatment towards the people and the people's opinions of the Capitol. Like I think I even told you at one point that it feels like when you read about like during the reaping in this book, when you read about it and how unsettled things are and how rebellious they feel and they seem. And then it's like, and then I just read because I'm reading Hunger Games, which I don't actually have with me right now. Fun. It's in the kitchen table. It's on the kitchen table. But
that's funny.
Like, and I just got through Katniss's reaping, and it's like
the difference,
they feel like in Hunger Games they feel so defeated. Like they've just given up. They've accepted the reality of what that is. And it's like,
it felt very like these people are
yes.
actually like really rebellious.
Yeah.
And then like the process that Haymitch goes through is kind of like, so it feels like worse than Katniss, because like they get sprayed with this insecticide, and he for some reason didn't like that, like it made his skin sting and all this different stuff, that like they're treated like not quite as animalistic as the movie for the Songbird. The one I can never name.
They were literally in an old zoo. They were put in a zoo enclosure, and it's like, are you serious right now?
So it's not as bad as that, but like when my brain compares it to Katniss's, because that's the one I'm more familiar with the book for.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's still like way worse. Like, they're pampered in Katniss's, which is still bad because they're pampered to die.
Yeah.
But like, they're not pampered as much. And then like, they don't have a mentor officially, because it's like they haven't had a victor, and the first victor is mysterious.
At least 12 isn't pampered. That's the one thing I've done. I don't know. Like, it kind of like, there's times where it made it kind of insinuated the fact that the other districts are treated better than 12, and 12 was just seen as like animals at one point, and it's like, I don't know. And
I liked his. I liked his relationship with the 13-year-old girl, the Luelle. I couldn't think of her name for a minute. And so when you get to the spoiler, we've been talking spoilers this whole time, but I'm giving you one more warning. When we got to the parade, the fact that their horses are not trained.
Oh my god.
Like,
the capital seems
like, and the fact that like he described how drunk and they smelled and looked like people at the hub on a Saturday night kind of thing, you know. It's just like, and the fact, like, I did not expect, like, the accident, the horses went crazy, the chariot went nuts, and they ended up running into another chariot, and basically Luelle dies. I genuinely was expecting her to die in the arena. I was not expecting her death so soon.
Yeah,
and
me neither.
For what he did, I'm like, I did not expect Haymitch to be a rebel. Like, like the fact that he took her body and ran up to like Snow, or the balcony or whatever Snow was standing on, like the whole thing just took me by complete surprise.
And like, one thing I find, like, Suzanne Collins did such a masterpiece, because you have that version of Haymitch, the rebellious, I'm gonna shove this in your face and make you acknowledge the fact that you've done this, to the person that's drinking himself into oblivion, like falling off of a stage and knocking himself out because he's so drunk at a reaping. You get this to that, and it's like, she does.
I want to know how he gets from point A to point B.
And it's just, like, oh my gosh, she does such a good job with it, and then she makes the whole thing come full circle, and it's just like, so good.
And then for me, like, another thing too is like, because at one point he gets taken away to talk to Plutarch, or whatever the guy's name is.
Yeah.
And he gets a private audience with Snow, who is like sick, and like I was like, huh? And like the whole veiled threat, and like Snow, basically President Snow telling him that like, you're going in the arena to die for what you did. But how you die, like, you can either die quick or you can die slow. And then he brings out this girl who's posing as Luelle, and like to the cameras and to the world, he's gonna have to pretend that that's her. And it kind of makes him sick, because like the real Lenore, or whatever, Luelle, the real Luelle is dead.
Oh yeah.
And this is an imposter.
I wasn't sure if you got to that part yet.
Yes, I just passed that.
Okay.
So like, President Snow, like, being so like outwardly charming and sweet, but like threatening Haymitch, and like Haymitch basically knows he's going to his death. Like, obviously we know he survives, but like his head right now is like, I'm gonna die. And just this poor guy, like, I want to give Haymitch a hug. He deserves a hug, and it's just like, President Snow is so cruel. Oh my god. And I haven't even gotten to whatever's gonna, because I'm like, I know for a fact in the Hunger Games books he lives alone. So I'm like, what happens to his mom? What happens to his brother? What happens to Lenore Dove? I am so concerned for what's going to happen in this book. It scares me.
You should be.
I need to breathe. I can't breathe.
You should be. Okay. Also, please ignore the fact that I have dishes in the corner that I forgot to take to the kitchen. So ignore the fact that there are dirty dishes in the background. I just did dishes and I forgot them. So ignore that.
I actually can't see them or tell, so.
Sweet. Okay. All right.
But yeah, so as you can see, I'm still like I was playing video games a little bit more, but I've recently switched where like this because last you guys all saw I was in a reading slump. The night I started this book, I was immediately launched out of my reading slump. Like it's like visiting an old friend, and at first I wasn't sure. It's like, do I really want to go see that old friend or not? And then you're there and you have a great time, and like
Yeah.
it feels like I forgot how much I miss this story world and
Mm-hmm.
the world that Suzanne Collins has created. I love it so much, and like I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't sure like if I could go back into that as an adult,
Yeah.
but like I guess I didn't realize how much in hindsight how
Yeah.
much her books have influenced me,
And this,
and it's like I love it. I am so
it's
into
it's
this
proof
book.
it's proof that just because it's written in the YA genre does not mean that it's a bad book or that it's bad writing or that it's immature
Yeah,
writing. There's a lot of
100%.
stuff in here that there's a lot of like there's several scenes in here that I'm like, "Oh, this is a YA book." Got it. Like, are we sure? But that's the Hunger Games, and that's like
Yeah,
this, like, and it's there's
that's
so
why it was
many
so revolutionary at the
there.
time.
Yes, and there's so many like messages between the lines that it's like it's crazy. Like we could spend an entire podcast just talking about the messages, like the in between little messages that she's trying to get across to readers, and it's just like so cool.
And there's a lot of different games and stuff, and and for me it helps too because the teenagers don't feel like teenagers because they have grown up so fast because of the way that they're treated. And honestly, I'm a sucker for like oppressed society, like the oppressed society by a
Mm-hmm.
government trope
Yeah.
is like a big fun thing for me. I don't write it very much, but I like reading it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like the ultimate like I don't know, I just really and for me like having a male protagonist like in this story world that I love so much is like the cherry on top of the icing or something, like
Mm-hmm.
however that phrase goes. It's like the icing on the cake for me.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like I'm here for it. I love it so much.
Yeah.
So before I get to my big um like thing to talk about and everything and stuff, I wanted to talk about really quickly a really sad thing in the author community right now. So anybody who doesn't know, November is NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month, where you write 50,000 words in a month. And originally it was created by this website called NaNoWriMo, and it was started in 1999 apparently, and it was kind of like a website where you could like start a project, log your word count, and it would keep track of your word count for that story, but also like for the year and like your lifetime word count. And every month, like usually they have Camp Nano in summer and then NaNoWriMo is in November, and so you log your daily word count
Mm.
every day. And apparently they're actually like shutting down, so
Oh.
like the contest is still going to be like a thing, but like the website, which I love just because it's easy to keep track of your word count, like there's
Oh.
not another alternative for
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
online. Like I keep track in notebooks now, like
Hmm.
physical notebooks, but like online it's like the best place, but it's
Yeah.
shutting down. um and so it's really
Did
sad,
they say
and like a
why?
lot of people probably so there was inappropriate behavior by volunteers and moderators, which was they got
Mm.
scrutinized before. I don't know
Yeah.
when that was, but that was one controversial thing. And the big thing was last year they started having a stance where they would allow AI writing, and a
Oh.
lot of authors were like rebellious because like here I am writing at me writing 50,000 words in a month, and you're just going to generate it via AI and allow that to count for the contest. Like a lot
Yeah.
of people were mad about that.
Oh. Yeah. I could see
And
that.
so, but now they just don't have enough money to like
Hmm.
continue
That's sad.
the community of writers and stuff. And so there's rumors on this subreddit that they're creating something to step into the gap. And so there's a couple of different apps people are throwing out there. But I mean, we're probably like you can still write 50,000 words in November, still complete NaNoWriMo, and post your word count like as pictures and stuff like that. But like
Mm-hmm.
they gave you like different badges for
Hmm.
different
Yeah.
aspects and stuff. And so I'm also gonna have to find a way to like download my data from it.
Oh yeah.
Um, so it's just kind of like a sad thing that
Yeah.
it was like my heart's broken a little bit.
I know that's
And like
always
I
been something
haven't
you've always
supported them in
participated in
general.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll have to, like, I keep track in a notebook. I'll just have to find a better digital way of doing it. Like, because right now it's just for myself, so the notebook works fine for me. But visually, if I want something more pretty or appealing, I'll try to find something online to, like, take pictures on and share and all that stuff. But it's just kind of sad. Like, I haven't supported some of their ideals for a long time because I disagree with them on some stances that they've had, particularly in abortion. But so I don't support them, but I have used their platform for the tracking. They've had, I can't think of another app that, like, tracks as best as they do.
Yeah. That's sad.
Yeah, but that was my original thing. Also, like with you, you finished it really quickly. Back to the sunrise and the reaping, I realized we didn't really get. I know you can't really talk about specifics yet. Like I'm working on it so fast, but like you seem like you finished it really, really quickly.
It's a very fast-paced book. It's fast-paced. Like once you get into the games, it goes pretty quick.
I'm so scared.
Yeah. All of the times.
Was it a 5-star read for you?
Yeah, I would say so. Like
considering you said you cried 5 times.
Well, like any book that I am able to dive so far into that I feel big emotions is a 5-star read for me. Like if I'm able to connect on like such a personal level that it moves me to feel an emotion, whether that's anger or frustration or sadness or joy or whatever, then it's definitely a 5-star for me.
Right.
And it puts so much it puts so much emphasis into like it. There's so much more meaning behind the things that Haymitch says, like at least so far.
That's what I was hoping for.
And it's like what little interactions I've had since restarting Hunger Games, it's like just even the part where he's pointing his finger at the screen, that feels like a glimpse of the old Haymitch again, but he's drunk. And it's not the old Haymitch, but you get a glimpse into that old Haymitch, the one that, spoiler, by the way, the one that brings this girl's dead body to President Snow, being like, hey, look at what you've done. Like, it felt like a sprinkle of his old self again. And I'm like, but yeah. So it just adds more emphasis behind like, his character. And it's like, even now, as I'm reading through Hunger Games, like there's times where like she was talking about like the interaction with her and Peeta and him throwing her the bread, and it's like from the way she describes it, like she likes Peeta already. It's just she hasn't allowed herself to be at peace enough and feeling safe. She hasn't ever felt safe enough to acknowledge her feelings for him. That's what I think. I think she's always kind of liked him, or like known that he's there and had like an appreciation for him, or like, I don't know, because of like him essentially saving them when they were right after her dad died. And it's like, I don't know. It's just like, and then I've seen people that will compare like certain things from the books, from this book, and then emphasize why Haymitch kind of mentors Katniss and kind of latches onto her as like a mentor figure in the main trilogy. And it's like, it makes sense. It just adds a lot more depth to his character. And I think that was partly the whole goal, was just to...
Well, like a good prequel to do
that. Yes.
It should add to the story and make you see the characters and the events in a new light, like the prequels and Star Wars, like them or hate them, it's still enlightened and changed your perspective on things.
Yeah, so, for sure.
I noticed for me, like one of the things that surprised me was that he never drinks. Like he works in a liquor thing.
He even says that he won't drink.
And I'm like,
he even says he doesn't drink. Yeah.
So I'm like, how does he's got to go through a lot to get there. Like I'm just like, I'm expecting heartbreak and hurt and pain and all the angst and stuff. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, right now they've got a pretty solid plan. So their plan that he's working with BT, which by the way, it was nice to see like Wyrus and Mags and BT and like some of the old characters like as mentors, like younger. So that was pretty cool. I love those. But like for now, it seems like they have a pretty solid plan that could end up like the end of Catching Fire. And that's like how it seems like it's gonna be. I'm like, hey, we're gonna have a Catching Fire where they destroy the arena and everything's gonna be fine. I have a feeling it's probably not gonna end that way, but it seems like that's where it's going.
The first time I cried is when his first interaction with Mags. That was the first time I cried. That interaction there. Like his thoughts in that moment, where it was like, where even is that part?
I know I did have a couple quotes though that I wanted to highlight, but I didn't have any annotating things at the time.
Yeah. I forget. Oh, and the fact that they bring up the Mockingjay pin, like, blew my mind a little bit. Like, early on, they mentioned, like, the pins that the twins had. And it's like...
I don't remember. I'm sure I probably, at the time, noticed, but my brain...
Oh, what part was it? Oh, yeah, it's page 89. Like, it's the end of a chapter.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, like, she doesn't congratulate him. She doesn't act like the typical, you know, let's talk strategy. Like, that wasn't the first thing that she mentions to him. Like, she sees through everything and then just like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I know, and like the fact that like he had kind of held himself together and like
Yes.
is going through all of this stuff, and just her, like, she allowed him to kind of break down, and
Yeah.
she, like, how Wyra sent the other people away so he could have a breakdown, because I thought he mentioned something about how he didn't want to break down, but he like did, and so he was kind of like ashamed of it almost, and so the fact that she gave him time to do that, like, and like I don't know, I liked that they sat around the dinner table in like 96, and like she's like, what do you guys want? And it's like you can kind of like, you're gonna die, but like she wanted them to decide how they wanted to, like, they're just not really casually talking about this because it's heavy, but like if you know you're gonna die, like
what do you want to do, like what
go out,
like what impact do you want to make, like
have at their age.
Yeah, like what impact are you wanting to make in this process of like doing this? Yeah, like, I would agree.
So,
oh my gosh, the part, have you got to 115 yet? Page 115, or what page did you stop on?
146.
Okay, so on 115, when they go up to is it the kids from 6? Goes up to the kids from 6, and she's like, we're sorry our chariot hurt your friend. And I'm like, oh my god, man. I was like, man, these kids are so young. They're little, like, literally kids. And he, like, my own little, like, on 116, where he's like, my own little dove-colored flock. And I'm like, oh.
No.
Like,
I hope they don't all think I can protect them when we hit the arena, because I can't.
Oh my god, I know. And the fact that he's just a 16-year-old.
I know. Page 60, I thought, like, it was somewhere in the 60s that I remember having a quote, because I wrote it in a notebook, like a notepad app on my phone. I think it was like, looking after her, he's talking about Luella. Looking after her will give me a reason to keep going. Her looking after me will stave off the terror of facing death alone. I can only hope we leave the world together. And I'm just like, probably not. And that was before, obviously, we get to Luella's death, but it's like... Yeah, there's been some good lines. I wish I'd kept better track, but I need to...
And the fact that what happens later, and it's like the poor person that's put in her place, it's just like...
absolutely traumatized.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. So I haven't cried yet, but I definitely, like, got tons of feels with Luella's death. Like, it was very, very sad. And, like, the fact, like, I feel like they're a little bit more violent with them. Like, he's been hit on the head. I think they electrocuted him at one point, like, with a cattle prod or something like that. I can't remember. And, like, the fact that he was hit down a couple of times.
And, like, after, like, if you read, like, that whole interaction, when he talks with Snow at that one point, and, like, that whole conversation, the conversation that he has about the cubby, I'm like, oh my god, like, there's so many things where I had the transparent, like, the sticky notes where I was underlining things, I'm like, oh my gosh, Like, yo.
I felt like there was a lot of references there from Snow. I was like, this probably referencing
Oh yeah,
Big Girl from that
heavily,
book
yeah.
a lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
Um.
It's, oh my gosh, yeah. That one, and like, and I
Yeah.
think I was telling my kids at school, like the original trilogy is like the main series, but it's like this one makes you feel things, and Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes makes you think things, makes you think,
Yeah. So she has
like
different
reflecting
purposes
on
for
that
different
character,
things.
whereas this one gives you a backstory, makes you like feel things for Haymitch other than just the fact that we like his quirkiness in the books. But it's
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm
They
saying,
make his
it's just like,
character
oh
so three dimensional.
yes.
In chapter 6, when right after Luella dies, Luella looks so tiny, so still in the chaos around us. A fine job I did protecting her, dead before we even made it to the arena. Who will sing your songs now, Luella?
Oh, I know, just
And I'm just like, he's 16.
yeah,
Like, having an entire life in his hands, like, he should not
yeah.
feel guilty for the fact that she died on his watch when it shouldn't have been his
Hmm.
responsibility in the first place as a
And the
16-year-old.
fact
Like,
that
I'm sure my brain goes in like adult mom mode now,
yeah,
as opposed to like,
yeah,
like I relate to him and like feel for him and all that stuff, but it's like
yeah.
we're coming at this as adults, you know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? So
Hmm.
it's like,
Yeah. And the fact that the Capitol seems so unorganized, and it's like Snow has been in power
yeah,
for how long, and it's still this chaotic and unorganized and just clunky and just, it's
and
embarrassing.
it just seems
It's
so,
embarrassing for the
like, the
Capitol.
Katnisses, they seem like they have it all together, and
Yeah.
they're
Uh-huh.
fluffy and they're
Mm-hmm.
pampered, and it's just like this rich, like pampered kind of perfect little
Mm-hmm.
paradise. But in this one, they still come off as just chaotic and drunk, and
Yeah.
like some of the outfit
Even
choices
like the
was like so,
peacekeepers and like the game
like,
makers
what
and
is
like
it
all of
called?
those
Like,
people too. It's just like everything seems
yeah,
so like just yeah,
weird. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, some of the outfit choices seem really like not
immature.
fancy,
Immature on the Capitol's
immature,
part, like
like,
unorganized, just
yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And it's just, it's so fascinating to
Mhm.
compare to the Hunger Games, like, and see the progression.
Yeah.
But all right, I guess we should get to our TBR lists first.
Yeah.
Well, first, before we even do that, I have a book haul. So we did go shopping today. So the first surprise that I have for you that I got,
Oh, sweet, finally. Lord
I
have
know,
mercy. But now like after you read it, now you can see why I'm griping so much about how dumbly rushed the movie was. Gosh, they cut
yeah,
out
I'm
so much
sure.
stuff that
Um,
that added so much to his character, and like you weren't confused by the end of the book, but like the end of the movie people were confused because it almost made you feel somewhat bad for Snow, but it's like no.
Well, I wasn't really. I remember. I don't remember
Some
details,
people
but I
were.
remember being confused. Like, what just happened? It
Yeah.
was the question. I was like, what just happened? I
Mhm.
wasn't for sure
Yeah.
what actually happened. But I watched these people that commentated on this, and they showed some clips, and I didn't remember. Like, I don't remember a whole lot of details from the movie. And since I'm reading, Hey Mitch's over here, it got me interested, and so I'm like, I'm really interested. And for me, again, living in the Hunger Games universe with a male protagonist,
Mhm.
like, that's my thing. And then I'm not overly fond of the actress choice anymore, just because of her real
Recent
personality
developments.
bleeds
Yeah.
through, and I can't unsee her real person to get into the character she's supposed to be playing. And so for me in the book, I'm hoping I can kind of like
Oh yeah.
picture the character how I'm supposed to.
Yeah.
So that was the first book that I bought today.
Mhm.
And then the next two, I actually found these at Target. There are a couple of thrillers, and like James Patterson is like
It's really
the
big.
most
Yeah.
famous thriller author. He's like the biggest one for thrillers, whereas like Stephen King is like horror. He's like the Stephen King of thrillers.
Yeah.
And both of these seem like they have characters that I would be into, and this is currently what I'm like planning and writing and working in.
Sweet.
Like mine are still have a romantic plot line, but these still kind of have like they may have
Mhm.
subplots.
Yeah.
But I'm really like, this one's about a Texas Ranger, and I'm like, oh my god, like I have not read a book about a Texas Ranger having a nice little mystery to solve in a while.
Yeah.
And of course, Texas Rangers are just, you give me a good Texas guy, and I'm just like, all
Uh-huh.
right, he's the
Yep.
main character of a book, I'm
Uh-huh.
sold. Um, and so this one's like a guy and his girlfriend are on a island, and they're separated, and then he has to search for
Oh.
her all over the world, and like they're on the run, and I'm just like, this is kind of like my vibe right now. So I'm kind of excited for these two, and I hope I don't fall out of them before I get around to them, because I'm really Hunger Games University right now. So, but it's like I had to nab them while they were there, because like I don't see, like, I don't know how long they're gonna be there.
Yeah.
So. But that was my book haul before we get to. So you want to do your first?
Yeah. Okay. The only two things that I have bought recently, this will come into play later, but I did go ahead. I'm not in the mood to read this, and I'm not sure how soon I will be in the mood to read it. But we'll talk about the reason why I went ahead and bought this later, because that's one of our other talking points other than our usual stuff. So we'll talk about that one, Quicksilver, in more detail in a little bit. It finally came out in hard, like, physical form.
Nice.
So I can actually read this now.
Has red on it. The one at Walmart has red on the cover.
Okay, well I have the purple. I have the Target version of the other novella, so I'm like, it felt weird to get the normal one of this when I have the Target one of that. So I was like, I might as well get the Target one of this. Yeah. Kind of like how the other ones are hardback, so I kind of have to keep the theme of getting the hardbacks, except for the first one. The first one's paperback, and the others are hardback. So I guess it's Anyway, but I did get that.
The blurb sounds so interesting, because I saw that at Walmart, and Walmart. I didn't see it at Target, by the way.
And I love how tiny. It's like my favorite kind of pages. I love her pages. And then it's like the thinness of the pages, but like the words are really tiny too, so it makes me feel like I'm reading a lot. Look at how tiny the wording is there.
Yeah, it sounds really interesting. So it's between, you know what? I was like, I can't read it yet. I'm out of order. I haven't read the third book, but it's actually between
It takes place before that one, yeah. It takes place before that one.
So I can read it.
So I'm the one that will be reading them out of order. But the current the current book I'm reading is the Hunger Games, like the Hunger Games, like the actual first one. And so, yeah, these kind of go together. I kind of am thinking I might just plow through these two while I read the series together while I'm at it. So my first two are those, so you can do your other one, your next one.
Well, likewise, I don't actually have them yet. I need to order them, but Hunger Games, I have my weird ARC copy of Catching Fire to represent the whole series.
I would be curious to go through and compare and see if they're the exact same through the entire thing or not. Like, I would be curious. Like, what page is that? Like, open up a page.
226.
Okay, 226. Okay, 221. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, what does the first line say?
Is it possible that this was really the quarter Kell written down 75 years ago?
No. Mine says, and then pretends to hang himself for my amusement.
Okay, let's go to a chapter. The beginning of chapter 13.
Okay.
Because I bet the pages are off.
Okay, there's 9, 17, 16, where's 13? 13. Okay. It's page 174.
Mine's 224. So my body reacts before my mind does, and I'm running out the door across the lawns of the victor's village into the dark beyond.
Yep. Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's just like really big font. Like and then, like, the beginning, I saw several, like, when I glanced through it before, like, there was a lot of editing errors in the beginning. So I wonder if this is, like, an early...
I don't know. Yeah, I imagine it is.
It's interesting. Anyway.
Whoa.
This is representing the Hunger Games trilogy. Yeah, you went out on mine.
Yeah, I know. You went robotic on mine.
Oh, okay.
Can you see me?
Hopefully we're all right. No, not on mine. Okay, yeah, now I can.
Sweet. Okay, cool.
Anyways, so for me, my TBR list, if I manage to order the Hunger Games, I may reread the books, because I'm searching for Haymitch in this one, like, and what the difference is. So, like, again, kind of like you, like, comparing and doing it while we're in the universe. So if I manage to order them, that will be on my TBR list. So this was just kind of a filler representative for me. So I'm gonna fill that. So that was my.
Okay, what's your book two then? What would be your second one? on your list? Because I kind of did two in one.
Obviously, right now I'm currently reading Sunrise on the Reaping. I may or may not read this
Ooh,
one
okay.
next.
Okay.
Potentially, but it's between three, so I don't necessarily have them in like an order. But
Okay.
I'll just go ahead and talk about this one. So, A Walk in My Combat Boots. I started reading this a while back, and I stopped in the middle of it. It's true. It's James Patterson again. So apparently, I'm in a James Patterson kick. I don't know why, but it's actually like a collection of true stories about veterans, like in all branches of the military, from like the recent like war in Afghanistan and Iraq. So it's like from 2000 and obviously on, but they're like real stories from people. So they went around just getting stories from people. And like militarily, like I'm inspired. I love veterans. It's a supportive end, but I've noticed at Walmart they have a book 2 to this. So it's a second collection of more military stories.
Okay, cool.
And I've seen that one, and so I'm like, I want to finish this one and buy that one and try that one.
Yeah.
So at some point I'm going to, and I would like to. And like it was really good. So like each of the stories, some of them are longer, some of them are shorter, but you feel kind of like you're making progress, and it's like I kind of did get where I fell out of it, but that was when before I was reading a whole lot. Apparently I still have a bookmark in place, so that's nice. Yeah, so the fact that I was reading this quite a bit, like before I actually, like that was during my reading slump when I did not read, and I would just sit and read this for hours, but you like make a lot of progress because there's tons of stories in here, and each one and so I love veterans. I'm a huge supporter of our military, and so like in everything that they went through, and like so it's really fascinating. And again, it kind of jumps around to different aspects of the military, so I really want the one at Walmart.
Yeah.
So, that's my second choice. I'm getting to be a high staff over here, so hopefully that doesn't fail.
Okay, the only other one that so far that I'm kind of adding is Half-Blood Prince. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince.
6 or 7?
6. Second to last.
6.
And then I'm not including the Cursed Child into that because it's like the main series, and then there's that one that's kind of separate.
Okay.
So
makes sense.
Second to last in the main ones. But yeah.
Hey, you're almost done. I'm happy for you.
Yeah. And I don't want to rush that series either because like that one's like another big one that people our age are like obsessed with. So it's like I don't want to rush that series either.
I get that. My next one is The Assassin's Blade. I want to try to do one of these a month, like in the Throne of Glass series. Like if I can do at least one a month, that would be good. Yeah. And I was kind of needing a break after Crown of Midnight. Like the ending was amazing. It's just the first half was a real big struggle. That was the only book I read last month because it was just like the beginning was hard. But this one again, it's a collection of short stories or novellas or whatever. So I feel like it may be better because I'll feel more accomplished with each one, and you feel like you're actually making progress. And then if I don't like one, the next one may be better. You know, if like, I'm sure I don't care about this, character or plot for this one, but like they seem like they're about different things and they each have their own little mini plots. So I feel like it's going to be better, but I would like to do that. I'm still in the Hunger Games universe right now, but if I get back into reading where it's not taking me, cause I'm a fast reader, I would say, but I've just been reading slower lately for some reason. So if I can get back in my reading mode, then I can probably knock this out and maybe the 2 Hunger Games books, the one I'm reading, and then the one I can't say the title of because of Carissa Broadbent's book that confuses me, President Snow's prequel. I may be able to knock those 2 in this one out, I'm thinking, more realistically. But I wanted to give myself options, so
yeah,
I don't know if I didn't just pile these up like this. That's my next one. Was that your only other one?
Yeah, I'm only adding a few this time. Yeah.
Okay. So my next one is an ARC copy I got of a friend of mine. I've mentioned this. It's last month. I was supposed to do it and I didn't. And it's called The Journey. After Crown of Midnight, I needed to read something that I was more interested, like something that hooked me, that got me out of my reading slump. And so instead of like more of a requirement read, if that makes sense, like I'm still excited for this book. But it's just like, I just needed to read something that was more able to get me out of my reading slump. Yeah. So, but it's very skinny, so I should be able to read it pretty quickly, but I really do need to get around to reading this at some point.
That's fair.
And then, of course, basically these are just my backlist on my TBR that just constantly get put on there that I haven't gotten to yet. So obviously you guys know this one by now. And then the next one that I really want to read, I may not get to it this month, but I'm just adding it in there in case I'm in the mood for it, is Water Falling. So it's H.A. Pruitt's third book. So it's Anathalion, Earthquaking, Water Falling. So this is the next one in that book. She's working on book 5, and so I need to do book 3 and 4 before she gets book 5, so that way I can anticipate book 5 when she gets it ready. She's still in the early like editing, like pre-editing phases for her, so it'll be a little bit. But I don't even know, like she hasn't even done a title reveal for that book yet. But I think that one's gonna be Tad's book, so I'm pretty excited. So this one and the next one I think are more focused on the other kid. I don't know why my brain randomly forgot names here. Andrew.
Oh, okay.
So I think, I'm not for sure, but yeah. So like I don't know. It's like she has a lot of like Christian themes, and so it's like a lot of when you read, it's like God kind of speaks to you through her books with different parts, like no matter what you're going through, or like a different part of your like I don't know, just like different aspect of your life kind of thing. So I'm really looking forward to like reading that. So and I want to get books 3 and 4 done before book 5 comes out. So those are a couple of indie books. But like I said, I'm into Hunger Games universe, and I still would like to read these thrillers. So essentially, these books are all like I really want to read them. It's just a matter of like, am I too slow? How fast can I read these books? Can I knock these out pretty quickly? That sort of thing.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
And then one more that is coming out April 3rd. It's called Bound by Wishes, and it's by Jessica Spurriel, and I've seen her on Instagram, and she's an indie author. I saw some art of her characters, and the fact that it's like an Aladdin retelling, but like no spice. And he is like not really Aladdin retelling per se, but like he is a genie, and he's bound to like a lamp or whatever. And it's just like, I think she described it as like Aladdin meets The Mummy, but like fairy tale no spice retelling. And I'm like, I am here for it.
That works.
And it comes out April 3rd. I have been anticipating this for months now, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's release month, so I'm so excited. And a lot of her books sound really good. They're like fairy tales mixed with like a bunch of little other things. It's just like really quirky, like adding in The Mummy, you know what I mean? Like, who would have thought?
Yeah,
it's just like, it's so fun, and it's no spice. Like, she advertises that a lot, and yet she has such beautiful fan art. And so I'm like, show me fan art of the main couple and I am sold.
Yeah,
so that's coming out.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Oh, I need to wake up. I am slowly fading.
Oh, okay. Well, one of the things that I wanted to mention, that I had shared a link to you so you could see what I'm looking at. The anthology that I was a part of, called Athletic. I broke something on my bookshelf. We'll worry about that later. I heard glass, so anyways, it's called Aphotic Love, and it's like romances that aren't necessarily happy endings, because like to be a romance, it has to have a happy ending. Some of us like dark romances that end tragically or don't always end happily, and there's different themes within the anthology, and some of it's poetry, like poetry stories. One of my stories is in here. It's called Blackheart, so I'm pretty excited.
Cool.
But it's getting a recover. So they redid the art, and it has a sister anthology that's coming out called Unconditional Love. And so there's still a skeleton on it. Like, this one has like a full skeleton, but it's like laying
I like them.
on a grass of a wildfire, wildflower.
Flowers,
And I like the new covers better. They are, like, to me, an improvement.
Yeah, I like them.
And so the art is pretty cool. Basically what happened is the main chick, Effie Jo Stock, and I guess some other authors, like they created, she used a publishing company called Dragonbone Publishing to release her own books, and she turned that into, like, now she's accepting other authors. And obviously because they did these anthologies, they're re-releasing them to fit her publishing company, so like new art, new branding, that sort of thing. So Aphotic Love and then Unconditional Love are the two sister anthologies.
Sweet.
So yeah, I was pretty excited. I think it comes out on June 12th is the re-release for both of them at the same time. So
that's cool.
I'm pretty excited.
That's definitely
and they
exciting.
have authors that do the art themselves and stuff, so it's pretty
sweet. That's
I do
really
like
cool
the new
though.
covers better.
Yeah.
So that was the other thing. And then I know we were going to talk about our stats. So
Yeah.
mine is really, really simple. I read where did Crown of Midnight. I started it on March 1st. It looks like I may have started it a couple days before, like in February, like the end of February, but for the most part, March 1st all the way to the 18th. So that it took up the most of March to read Crown of Midnight.
Yeah.
And I started Songbird in the Heart of Stone on the 19th, and I tried to go for a week on the 26th, and that's when I gave up, and it was Wednesday, so I read it for a week, and you helped me, and that's when I started Sunrise on the Reaping on March 27th. So I literally I DNF'd one book, and I read one book for March, so my stats are not that impressive for March. But I have a 92 reading streak. It's actually longer because I've been reading every day since November, but like for the year, I've been reading every day. So, and I've got 6 out of 24 books for my book goal done. I read a lot in January, so that's covering me for the fact, because my goal was at least 2 books a month, and I didn't read a second book for March, but I'm covered because I read a lot in January, so that's kind of like fair. Covering me.
That's fair. Yeah. What about you? I started Awakening Fire, which was an arc read. I finished that. I started that in February, but I finished it up at the very beginning of March. And that was from the third is when I finished that, and then I started Jurassic Park on the 3rd, and then I finished that on the 10th. And then I started Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, and that one probably is what I spent the most time reading on. I started that on the 10th, and I didn't finish that until the 23rd, so I spent a decent amount of time on that one. That was like a bigger book. I think it feels like it was one of the biggest in that series, but I don't know how big the last one is. I know it was definitely bigger than this one. That's the next one on my list. It was definitely bigger than this one, but I don't know. It felt big, but a lot happened in that book. And then I started on the 24th. I started Sunrise on the Reaping, and then I finished that on the 1st, and I was hoping I could finish it on the 31st, but I just didn't get it done. And so
it still counts as a March read for you.
Yeah.
It's like a day off.
Yeah. So like Awakening Fire ended with a 4-star read. Jurassic Park was a 4.5, and then Harry Potter was a 5. And then Sunrise on the Reaping is also a 5. So I can assortment of ratings.
Midnight was 4.5 for me, and obviously I DNF'd. I was joking about Tigger with you when we were off the live stream. It was like DNF for now, like ta-ta for now, but it's like DNF for now.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to get back to it, but we talked about how I need space from it. Like, we compared it to how I felt about Court of Silver Flames, and I took me a year to come back to that, and then it was like November of last year, I think, and I was able to read it, so I think I may just need some distance from it to get into it. But so it was like a 4 point. Yeah. So far, my average star rating is 4.8 stars, and I read 5 books in fantasy, 4 books in romance, and 1 book in fiction, which some of the genres may overlap.
Yeah.
But it's primarily fantasy, and again, average star rating is 4.8 stars.
Yeah. So like my categories are fantasy, fiction, young adult, romance, and sci-fi. So
nice.
Yeah, I'm going to see if Storygraph has anything. Storygraph said I read an average of 2,159 pages. My average rating is a 4.5. So, yeah.
Cool. I'm actually surprised mine's at 4.8, a little higher, but I DNF'd 1 book that I would have rated, so that kind of factors into that. So the first thing, obviously, that I was going to talk about, and that you have as well, is the Quicksilver situation. So essentially, people were complaining about this cover to Callie Hart, and they did not like it. They don't think it looks like Kingfisher.
They were claiming they were also claiming that it was AI, and she's like, I can tell you for sure that it was not AI. Like, she was like in the video that I sent you, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping onto your thing.
That's okay.
But like she even talked about how like she stole the hair from this one picture. She told like she was literally pieced it together. The layered it together. And I'm like, it's just so sad. And I'm like, you know what?
And so, and in the interview, you can see that she's really upset about it. And honestly, I've seen pictures of the new covers. I don't like them.
They're really hard to read.
And the cover for this one stood out to me at the store. Every time I saw it, I'm like, I really want to read that. I really want to read that.
It's so different than all the others. Yeah.
You have a hot guy on the cover that's not like the bare-chested men for the erotic romances. And I'm like, we finally have a fantasy book that has a dude on the cover, and it really got me interested in the story, and that's the whole reason why I gave this a chance, because the blurb didn't sound good, and so I wasn't interested in it based on the blurb. And it was a cover read for me, and then I read it, and it's like, to me, it's one of my top 5 favorite fantasies of all time. And it doesn't really look exactly like I pictured Kingfisher, but for me, it's still a gorgeous cover. And so I'm glad that launching into why you decided to buy it.
So like she's released these new covers and essentially said from this point forward, the new covers are going to be what the books are going to be released with. And I'm like, Booktok has literally bullied this woman into trashing a beautiful cover. And it's like she literally made it herself. That's where it's like she felt like an indie author for a split second, and it's like she reminded me so much of you. And it's like the fact like I would be really like if you had if you like were in her place, and it's like one of these days your books are going to hit it, and it's going to happen. But it's like when that happens, like if like I don't know what I'm trying to say. But I just feel so bad that she has been bullied to the point where she even joked about, I'm not going to cry about it anymore. And it's like, this woman has, yes, she was joking. She tried to play it off as a joke, but you could tell on her face that she was not joking when she said she cried about it. This woman has literally stayed up crying about the fact that people are bullying her about her cover and claiming that it's AL and all this other crap. And it's like, it's why I cannot stand Booktok anymore. I will not go to TikTok for any bookish content ever. I refuse to go back. I am like, and I cannot wait for the Tome community to get their Android app published and get it done, because I feel like you are going to enjoy it so much too, because I know I love Tome. It is so positive. It is so like no trash talkiness, no complaining about authors. It's just people who love books talking about books, and I love it so much. And it's like that's what Booktok started out as. It started out as that, and then it's like we fed into like gossip and cancel culture and toxicity of everything, and it's just it's over. It's done. I'm done with it.
And at one point, she said, I can't remember her comment, but at one point in the interview, she said that somebody made a comment to her and then she couldn't unsee it. And like, for me, that's what happened with the, I've had like 5 or 6 rounds of the Valiant series. For those of you who don't know, I was traditionally published, so I had the first covers from them.
Which
and then I bought the rights.
I also have.
And I tried, she has those, yeah. The OG covers. And then so I got the rights back, self-published. I designed my own covers, and I was pretty fond of those in the direction I was going, but I kept getting, again, negative feedback. And so I was like, okay, I need to hire somebody to do it because I'm not good enough to do it myself. Again, pretty relatable. And then I hired somebody who designed these covers, and I was okay with them. Like, they looked fine. But then somebody told me they look more like thrillers. And when they made that comment, I couldn't unsee the thrillers. And when I couldn't unsee it, I was like, I gotta change it. And then it's like, basically, I had hired somebody who didn't know what they were doing. So now I have Renz, and he designed the covers, and they're gorgeous, and I love them now. But it's like, once somebody says something about your cover, you can't unsee that, even if you loved the covers before. And it's like, for me, like, for example, Light Magi, I actually loved this concept of the silhouettes with the galaxy in them. And then somebody told me they look more like like, you know what, like a sidekick, like people who see the future and stuff. Like, it looks like a nonfiction book about psychics.
They do
and
not.
I'm like, I can't unsee it, so now I've got to change the covers. But like, you know what I'm saying? It's like little things like that like
genuinely, dude, it doesn't look okay. We could go into. I could go. Okay, I got to get off of this topic because I will rant and rave all night long. But like, it's just in that video, it was just so heartbreaking to watch because you could. She looks. She looks. So much. She looks so defeated in that video, and she was trying to be positive about it, but she looks so defeated and so heartbroken, and it's just like, ugh. Oh my god, it makes me mad. Like, it makes me so angry. I move on from it, and then my brain picks it back up again, and all that rage just starts simmering, and it just like, oh god, it makes me mad.
The fact that her book 2 is coming out this fall, and I hope she's going to be excited for it, because that kind of stuff can really dampen your excitement for a book release. Like, you know, and I've been so hyped, and so I'm gonna hype her up because it's she deserves it.
Yeah.
But along this same topic, because I know you need to move on, I actually posted to Threads and Instagram. Like, I made a Threads post, and then you can share those to Instagram.
Yeah.
And I said, readers, do you think you have the right to tell an author like what to do with the book, whether certain ideas or book characters? Not a rude question, just genuinely curious. And I just wanted to see what the general opinion was. And there's like, no, go write your own book if you want any kind of creative input. No rude, just an answer. No right to tell them what to do, but I can say that I won't read a book with X themes or designs, and I hope you find your audience. No, if you have so many ideas, write your own book. That was a lot of comments that I saw repeatedly. And then one of the authors said, sure, you can tell me what to do, but then they're liable to pay for my cover design since they want to insert themselves into something they weren't invited to.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm here for that. Another person, I was like, yeah, I was talking about the situation, the Callie Hart thing, and I was like, she's like, I've never read her personal preference, but I thought the OG cover was cool, basically. So like, even somebody who hasn't read her still kind of agreed.
I remember another point I was going to bring up. Literally, they complain and get her to change it, and then people have the audacity to nitpick the new covers, and I'm like, shut up. Sorry. Just stop.
No, you're fine.
Why do people have to keep dogging at her about it? Yes, they were complaining about how the name and the title were right on top of each other, and they wanted a space between. And I'm like, just, oh my god. All right, I'm calm. We're calm.
Like,
I need to relax. I need to relax a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's the kind of critiques that I would get from my cover critique groups that I go to get help for my covers.
And TikTok is just a bunch of people sitting on their couch in the middle of the night typing on a cell phone. They have no experience whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it's just, you can tell I'm not a big fan of, literally right after like the whole ban TikTok, what are we gonna do, and then it's not banned, like that, after that whole happened,
the most important
thing. God, yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, my whole,
it's like, oh, okay, we can live without this.
Yeah, my whole view of Booktok in general has changed since that happened. Not saying that we should ban it, but it's like, after I found an alternative that gives me the exact same thing, but it feels more approachable and it feels easier, connect with. Like, you found that with Threads. I found that with Tome. It's like, when you can find the alternative that gives you what you want without the toxicity that comes with that, oh, I love it so much.
Me too.
And it's just, If you haven't...
This also brings up an interesting question.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Where it's like, in general, I kind of want to know, because I've been asking for people in Avid Readers of Christian Fiction, the group, which is my target audience for my military romantic suspense, if they prefer people covers or no people. And like, that's been a huge debate. And I noticed a lot of people do love people covers, but there are the people who like, oh, I want to picture the characters how I want, so like I won't touch a cover if it has a person on the cover. And like the debate there. And I kind of was curious on the general consensus on like preference of like people covers or like more landscape themed covers or object covers. Like in fantasy, object is a big thing. In like suspense and thriller, it's a lot either people or landscapes, and a lot of times it's like a person that's like really tiny in the distance, like on the edge of like a road or a landscape or something.
Honestly,
and that's been like, I can't decide between the two of them on my covers, but it's like it's an interesting question.
Honestly, with me at least, as someone that like is definitely a judge a book by its cover girly. That's me. But I don't have a like honestly, I don't okay. I don't mean this in a bad way, but people that think that detailed into it when they're book shopping are nitpickers. And I am not a nitpicky person. There are certain things I will nitpick about. Like, but if I'm feeling especially nitpicky that day. But it's like when I'm shopping for a book, I'm gonna look, does the cover look cool? That's one.
Yeah.
Or two, do I know
do
I know the author enough to look past the covers to actually read the story? That's how like Throne of Glass, I could care less about the covers. The covers are mediocre. They're mediocre. Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of the covers, but I like how they're consistently themed. Like they're all the same height. They all have the same layout. I like that. But I didn't read the series because the covers had like pictures on, like drawn pictures on it or whatever. I didn't read it because of that. I read it because I liked Sarah J. Maas. I liked Throne of Glass. Like I read Throne of Glass because of like the summary and like the basic synopsis of what other people told me it was about. Like that's why I read it. It's like Fourth Wing had a great cover, but I liked the synopsis of it. Like the Serpent in the Wings of Night. I read that one. I picked that one up because it had a really cool cover. Not because it had a person, not because it has a silhouette, not because it was a landscape versus this, or objects instead of a landscape or whatever. Like I don't nitpick that. Some people are nitpicky like that. They will like every bit of it. Like they will ignore a book if there's a silhouette. I don't care. Add all the silhouettes you want. As long as it looks cool and it has a cool summary. Like the cover has to look cool, and then if the cover's cool enough for me to grab it and I flip it over and the summary catches my attention and gets my attention, I will read it 100%. 90% of the time I will enjoy it.
Yeah. I know for me, I literally don't have a preference because I've seen covers I've enjoyed both.
Yeah, me too. I would say, yeah.
Landscapes, like
I don't think that far into it.
If it's a good cover, it's a good cover, regardless of the. Yeah. The thing is, like, one final thought about the Kelly Hart thing. I feel for her so much because you added on the fact that like now they're nitpicking the spaces, and it's like for me, like talking to your designer, being like, hey, this is what I want, this is what the story is. Then you get it, and then you send it for feedback, and then you get that feedback, and you're like, okay, this will fix it, and then you send it, you get more feedback, and it's like this endless hole
cycle
of just constant, nitpicking on your cover, and it's like when you're editing your book, you will, as an author, you will obsessively edit and edit and edit. You're always going to find something to fix. You just have to say at one point, it's done.
Yeah.
Like, this is the final version. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what I had to do with the Valiant series when I finally found one that people generally liked the most. And I was like, I saw it and it clicked with me. I'm like, okay, this is the style and I'm going to do that. And I stopped getting feedback after the first few books. And like now from books 6 to like 13, and even like the short stories have their like there's a collection of short stories and each short story has its own cover. I haven't gotten feedback for any of that because it's just like we have a process. I know what it looks like. It matches the story. I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. And I think it's all about getting to that point where you are like you devalue people's opinion to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously you want to cater. Obviously you are writing to an audience, so you always want to have their interests in mind, like when you're advertising and you're marketing things. But it's like at the end of the day, authors write a story because one, they have a story they want to tell, and two, they enjoy it. And it's like at the end of the day, you write because you want to, not because you're trying to cater to. You know, you're not making a checklist. You're not writing for a checklist, which I would argue is Hollywood's issue at the moment. They're making movies for a checklist, but that's a whole nother story. But like authors aren't doing that, and the authors that are doing that are miserable, and the stories are boring. Yeah. Like,
and they may be making money, but like
she didn't write for a checklist. She didn't write for a checklist.
She wrote
She
the
didn't.
story
She
that
didn't
she
make.
wanted to tell.
She hasn't changed her covers in the 20 years since the first one came out. The 10, 15,
Yeah.
however many years. She hasn't changed the
Like, they have
covers.
these special editions
They
now, but,
re-released
like,
the
that's
special
more of, like, an
editions, but
anniversary thing. Yeah.
she hasn't scrapped these covers for new covers like Sarah J. Maas did. She hasn't scrapped them.
100%, yeah.
She's content with them. She's happy with what they look like. Perfect
And guess
example
what?
right
People are
there.
reading it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody
It literally,
cares, like,
it had like
props
1
to
point,
her.
like literally in the first day, it was like 1.8 million copies sold. I think it had like hit like.
Hashtag author goal.
I know, like literally,
oh
in the first like day or two, this is literally the most sold book in the entire series. 2 days after its release.
I bet she's so proud.
Oh my gosh.
Like, so happy, so proud. Like, we got to give her applause.
Oh,
like,
I
it's
know.
so good.
And it's like, but
and then for me, but yeah, in the end, for right now with my military romantic suspense, I've decided that I think I may go with the landscape covers, and then for the Kickstarter, do like the dust jackets with the landscape, and then underneath the hardback, actually have you
that would
can
be cool.
choose the silhouettes or the cover, the couple covers.
That's cool.
And actually give them, so it's like the best.
Are you gonna do just book one for the Kickstarter, or are you gonna do multiple Kickstarters for like one for each, like the first book release, and then later on when book 2 releases, you're gonna do the same thing? Is like that's what you're planning?
I'm gonna try to do book 1 for a Kickstarter. It's just the problem is when you're starting a series, you don't have a lot of backlog like to give with it. Whereas like, you know, Valiant book 6 Survivor coming soon, I'm gonna have Hunter through Rogue plus Immortal, and then all the short stories. So like Survivor's Kickstarter is gonna be huge just because it's gonna have a lot of like backlog with it, whereas this is a new series, so I'll try it and see if it works. But like I feel like it's going to be better with like in the military romantic suspense series, the Hearts of Valor, like book 3 will be better because then it'll be like, oh, I've got 3 books I can give you now, you know, that sort of thing. But we'll see. So
all right, what was
did you have any other articles?
I'm wanting to say I had one other thing. Oh, so apparently a portion of the Hunger Games community are bullying other portions of the Hunger Games community. Okay. A section of a chunk, a chunk of the community once has expressed their interest in having a book about Fanique and his story, and the other chunk of the community are essentially bullying the Fanique wanters, book wanters, like. They're comparing them to the Capitol and saying that they are the Capitol because they want Fanique's story, because Fanique goes through a lot of problems. If you didn't know, spoiler alerts for Mockingjay, when he tells a little bit about his story, he talks about how Snow essentially sold him to give people pleasure in the Capitol, and he was like essentially their plaything, and that was his whole story, his backstory, essentially, from what we're given. And like, it's one of those things that the one portion of the community is talking about how horrible these people are for wanting a book that about a character that struggles like that and went through that kind of story, and that they're no better than the Capitol is.
I'm trying to figure out the jump in logic, because just because you want a story about a character who overcomes
and they automatically they automatically assume that people are wanting it because they think people maliciously enjoy reading characters suffer. That's not the case. Like, I didn't
me like
but it's like I didn't read that. I didn't read this because I wanted to watch a man become a shell of his former self and become a drunk, because I found pleasure in that. I read it because I want to learn about Haymitch. I want to know his story. I want him to, instead of being a side character, I want him to be the main character for once. I want that for Fanique. I want, like you know what I'm saying?
Has always been really fun and charming. Like,
yes.
He comes off as in the Catching Fire as really happy and stuff. So it's kind of like, it would be interesting to see what he's gone through, but like to show how he's still able to smile and be charming.
Yeah.
And sweet and
well, and like there's always that thought of like the people that smile and laugh are the ones that are hurting the most inside. And so it's like, part of me wonders, like, I want to know, like, I feel like his character deserves the justice that Hamish has got. This literally gives Hamish justice to his story.
Yeah.
I want that for Fanique.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch, like, yes, it's going to be a really, like, it's going to be an intriguing book, and I would love to read it, but I don't want to love to read it because I want to see a man be sold for pleasure. I don't, like, I'm not reading it just because of that. I want to read it because I want to know his character on a more personal level. Like, I want to know him the way I know Katniss and the way I know Peeta. Like, I want to know him.
Comment over everybody who
yes.
wants Finnick's background. And to say that, well, that's why you want, like, that's making
you're no better than the Capitol. Yeah.
Everybody in.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I know. Anyway.
It really doesn't.
That was my main thing.
Okay. So, one article that I found is talking about Sarah J. Maas's other book, and I don't know if she's had a title reveal because this article calls it A Court of Shaded Truths, and I'm like, is that actually the title, or is that just what?
I know that there was like an April Fool's post. I know there's an April Fool's post on.
Maybe that's
and it was like it was like something claws and it like fluffy claws, and I'm like, this is an April Fool's joke. I'm not falling for this. I fell for it for like a split second, and I'm like, she would never name her book Court of Fluffy Claws. Come on, like, that's not a thing.
Hilarious. Oh my gosh. But yeah, they listed out like the ACOTAR books and when they were released. So like Court of Thorns and Roses was 2015, Mist and Fury was 2016, Wings and Ruin was 2017, and then Frost and Starlight, the novella, was 2018. So like it seems like she rapidly released the main series, and then Court of Silver Flames was in 2021. So like 2018, it was like 2019, 20. So it was like 3 years before the next one came out, and so it's 2025. So it's been 3 to 4 years since then. So while A Court of Shaded Truths does seem like a good title for a book in the series, since it follows the members of the royal court in the world of the Fae, it's unlikely to be the title of the next book in the series. A title's yet to be announced. So where did you get the title from?
It sounds like they just made it up.
To make the TikTok rounds that featured the supposed 6th book in the ACOTAR series. The book was titled as A Court of Shaded Truths, and the use of the book in the videos included a prominently shared one from Bouncy Book Club, featured the book next to the other ones in the series.
Okay, so this Screen Rant article that I'm seeing, that I looked, and it was like the two next books in queue. Like, thanks to interviews, readers have come with the idea of what's on the horizon for Maas and her plans, including a sort of Court of Thorns and Roses books and a 4th edition to the Crescent City series. So those are the two that she's somewhat confirmed in different interviews. That there's Court of, like, ACOTAR book 6, which I'm pretty sure I thought she said that there was 2 more after Silver Flames. I thought I heard that somewhere, but I don't know. It doesn't show that on this article, but I'm wanting to say in one of the interviews I thought she said something about 2 more after Silver Flames, but I'm not sure. But I guess she has also confirmed that ACOTAR 4, Crescent City 4 is a thing. I've only read book 1, and that came out in 2020, and the House of Flame and Shadow just came out last year in 2024.
Yeah. And in that interview promoting that book is when she formally announced in 2024 that there was going to be a 6th book, Thorns and Roses, in that interview. So it was like an interview celebrating the last Crescent City book last year that came out, and then she said that, ACOTAR is getting a 6th book kind of thing.
So I could see her announcing something soon, because she wrote Crescent City, and then she bounced back to ACOTAR, and then she bounced back to Crescent City. And there was a blank year. 2023 was a blank year. And then she was in Crescent City again. So I could easily see her going back to ACOTAR and being like, sometime this year, announcing the next ACOTAR. I could totally see that. Now, whether it's released this year, I don't know. I could see it being released next year. But I could see her announcing something this year. Like some summer, maybe? Late fall, early fall? Something like that?
Yeah. So her publisher confirmed that she had renewed her deal with them to publish 4 more books on top of her existing 3 books left to fulfill. So that's ultimately 7 more books on the way from her, not necessarily all from the ACOTAR series, though it's certainly the one that the fans are clamoring for the most. Like, we're wanting ACOTAR.
Yeah, I saw one theory where somebody was thinking they could said something about them thinking that she could possibly start a new series.
A new series, or maybe finally cross over the, somehow
Okay,
link them all
there's
and
something
do a crossover series.
there's a bit that you don't get to until the last book in this series, so I can't really talk about why I kind of agree with that concept of her adding another series. I can't really talk about it like at all.
Yeah.
But
I'll get there eventually.
Yeah, eventually you'll get there. By the end of the year, fingers crossed. But I think the further along you get, the more angsty it gets and the more you'll like it. I think that's my prediction. But
I'm over the worst hump, I think. I just have to get through the prequel book, and then I think
you've gotten through sailing. Honestly, books 1 and 2 are so slow compared to the prequel. Like, books 1, and that's what everyone said, that if you can get through the first 2 books, it picks up at the tail end of book 2, because then you have the Assassin's Blade that was written after book 2, so her writing style for the second half of book 2 is like, it continues with that kind of writing style and picks up even more. So like, you can see the progression in her writing throughout that series, and so it's like, it definitely, her writing style matures and improves and like grows as the series goes on. It becomes a true epic fantasy, I believe.
So in the interview, though, Sarah J. Maas told Today, which is the name of the magazine or whatever.
Yeah, the Today Show and stuff.
She said, I'm very, very excited about that one, referring to the new ACOTAR book. She's like, I know much more about what's happening in this one, and then there's the next book in that series. I have ideas and general vague thoughts, but the nitty-gritty of writing and the emotional journeys with the characters, I usually love to go on those journeys with them.
Sweet. That's cool. I'm excited.
Is what she said.
I'm excited. She will be. She will forever be one of my favorite authors. Her, Tolkien. Depending on how the Fourth Wing series ends, will determine that. I would say Carissa Broadbent is there. Like, I haven't read any of her other series yet. I kind of want to, because Carissa Broadbent has a couple of other series.
Yeah, there's one that I'm kind of interested in. It's popped up a few times.
Yeah,
like, I didn't realize it was her, and then I was like, oh, okay, that is her.
The Daughter of No Worlds, that series looks really interesting. That it's like, I kind of want to read, but none of the bookstores around town have it, so I'm like, oh well.
It's like it's one of her first books, so it's like, it's not.
Yeah, it's like
for a while. So
it's like
complete.
Ashen Sun. Yeah, it's called The War of Lost Hearts. So it's like Ashen Sun, Daughter of No Worlds, Children of Fallen Gods, and then Mother of Death and Dawn. So it looks really interesting. Like, those are the ones that have like the characters on the front that kind of remind me of the original. It reminds me of the original Throne of Glass covers a little bit, but like with a different twist to it.
Of No Worlds is book 1 in the War of Lost Hearts, it looks like.
Yeah. And I think the Ashen Sun's like a prequel book or something. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. I don't know. There's something about her covers that has like
Ashen Sun? Huh.
Ashen Sun. It's like, it's a prequel novella is what she has it labeled.
Right, because I cannot see.
About a guy named Maximus. No, Maxentarius. Ooh, I like that name, Maxentarius.
Where? I'm trying to find it, and I'm like, I'm literally browsing her books because I cannot.
If you go to her website and go to the books and click the books tab, it will be like, it'll show there. So CarissaBroadbentBooks.com.
Apparently, because I was tracking her on Amazon.
Oh.
I found her website. So the other article I had was
you can download it for.
I can't read it.
Can you download it? Oh, it's free. Oh.
What's free? Okay, we're gonna have to do this thing.
We are like.
But yeah, I had an article.
The audience is seeing us spiraling.
And apparently you have to. I know. Apparently you have to subscribe to read the article, so I can't actually talk about the last article I had, which was like 20. What was it? New books coming out in April, I think, is what it was. And it's like, well, shoot, I can't talk about that because I can't access the article. Her website is loading slow for me, so we're gonna derail a little bit, but
We've also hit like an
Yeah,
hour and
so
20 minutes of just yapping, so that's fair.
me, the whole middle of the week thing, it's
Oh,
like we
yeah.
have so much to talk about
Yeah.
because we just do not have the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I'm done with Sunrise on the Reaping, I don't know what I'm gonna read next. If I should read Ballad, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes,
Ballad.
or if I should jump to Assassin's Blade,
I don't know.
or if I should reread The Hunger Games.
I would say, like, if you're on the high, I would at least try it. Because, like, if you enjoy having the male protagonist, like the main POV, you might enjoy reading Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. You could probably, like, read the front page of it, and like you did with Sunrise on the Reaping, just to see. But it's like, if you are liking that and you're wanting, like, if you're, like, enjoying that, you might still like it. But
yeah. I actually did that at Walmart, and that's why I bought it. I was like, okay, first paragraph, I'm in.
Sweet.
I'm sold. You've got
I
me
forgot
sold.
what the first paragraph was about. I'll have to go back and reread the first paragraph.
He's cabbage, and he talked about how he's never gonna eat it. He doesn't want to ever eat it again, but he has to do it to like keep his stomach from growling. And I'm like, oh my god, I am here for that.
Yeah.
I'm so into it. Like,
yeah.
I'm a sucker for a guy with like a tragic backstory,
or like
and
a
tragic,
villain with a tragic backstory. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like,
with a struggle,
tragic,
like a struggling backstory. Yeah.
Like a struggling backstory. Yes.
Yeah.
I would say tortured, but I don't actually mean tortured. I just mean like a struggle.
Yeah. I couldn't quit. I had to quit yawning, man.
Her website to load. I can't get her website to load, so we'll have to off camera when we're off.
Sounds good.
I'll have to get my other computer and
do
it. So, what are you guys reading? What are your April choices?
Yes.
Let us know. And are you reading or have read Sunrise on the Reaping?
Yeah.
Because, like, what are you guys thinking of Hey Mitch? Let us know.
Yeah.
And if you have any other drama you want us to cover on this channel,
because
stuff, let us know.
As you've been made aware in this video, I am no longer in the now with Booktok. Not that I ever was to begin with, but the algorithm would show me all of the drama, and now I'm like, I'm done with it. So if there's any juicy content going on, let me know. Like, occasionally I'll get some, and that's like where I got the whole I sent you the Quicksilver thing. I can't remember if that was Instagram or TikTok, but
it was Instagram.
I get a lot of my stuff from Instagram anymore.
Yeah.
So
same.
All right,
so
let us know how things are going. We'll see ya in the shorts, or see you later.
Yeah, I need to get to making shorts more, because I haven't done any for this book yet, but I need to do that.
It's okay. I did one, and then I'm like, I started to record my reaction to the end of it, and I'm like, you know what? I just wasn't feeling it, so I'm like, I made one.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And it's okay. All right.
But yeah.
I yawned at least 10 times in this video. Bye!